Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic, and this is another reaction to the Monogatari series. It is still the second season. It is episode 21. As far as I know, the last story arc of this season. Just the beginning, the first one of this story arc. And you know what to do. As always, if you want to see the reaction itself, please go down into my descriptions. There will be a link or two. Replace the circumflex.parts with real dots and enjoy the reaction. Once you've done, feel free to come back here and hear out my thoughts about this episode. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Now, let's go through it, right? I mean, that was quite interesting. And it is kind of funny to see Kaiki in a different outfit than just the black dress he's wearing all the time. When the intro started, I mean, I was more neither instantly realizing it is about Kaiki. There was a short moment when I thought it would be, because there were strings in again, the one music I mentioned in the last discussions, but it was very clear that this was Hall of the Mountain King, which is Kaiki's theme. So I was like, okay, we start off with him, interesting. Then they showed the intro itself with music and everything. And I misinterpreted a little bit what was happening, because I was like, is it Senjugahara? Is it not? I was not completely sure. And Kaiki, wearing this flower dress he has here and stuff like that, seemed a lot younger. I mean, I even think his hair was different, in the meaning of not so gray-black. So my interpretation was, hey, are we getting a background information about the use of Kaiki? Maybe why he became so grumpy, you know, and focused on money. It would be interesting to learn stuff like that. So I thought maybe it is about his past, which possibly was wrong, although I will not shove it away completely, because later on in the episode something happened which makes me think again. So, however, it's Senjugahara. She asks him to meet up, and I'm not completely sure why he is playing this game of giving different names and meeting at other places. I guess it is kind of because he thinks it's funny. It's partially, possibly to make sure that the other one really wants to meet. So if he would be in the same city, they would say, yeah, just meet. But it's a different thing if you fly somewhere else, because then you show that you really, really need the help you're requesting. I guess Kaiki has more than enough money. The way that he lives, that he works, he should have accumulated quite an amount. Although we know that he's wasting it pretty fast as well. So he could afford that. Which was a bit strange, because he, as far as I know, doesn't like wasting money directly, so not sure. There was, in the beginning of all of this, very, very often before they met, him saying to himself in his inner monologue that he doesn't know her. He doesn't know Senjugahara. He doesn't know who she is. Which is a bit weird, because when they meet up, then he's completely talking. She's one of his enemies, together with Aragi and everything. I have to ask myself if he is, you know, as strange as it sounds, maybe just like he has to see a person to know who it is. Just guessing here wildly. It may be a tick from him to act as though he doesn't know, but maybe he really has to see the person, because he really wasn't able to put his memory together with name and sound of voice. Maybe he needs to see a person to really remember who it is. If not so, then I do not completely understand why he did it in the beginning. They have this very weird meeting here, which we can see in the picture, with dressing differently, you know, which is, it's kind of making fun out of this meeting itself. Like, we have to hide that no one can realize who we are and that we met up. I mean, they're in a different city, so it's very unlikely anyone will see them who knows them. So she put on those fake glasses with mustache and everything to kind of make fun of it, I guess. And he topped it by putting on this shirt because it is going so completely against the normal type of dress that he's wearing. And as he stated then, he did win this short first round. I think it might be an important thing for him. Maybe it's just that he wants to win, but it is an important thing to have the first love at his side, the first win at his side in this direct confrontation that the two here have. Because that it is a confrontation. As often in the past, I really question the way that Senjugahara is acting and talking to people. She's very, very often threatening to do things that are terrible. In this case, threatened to stab him. Normally, I would say it is an empty threat. For many people who, if someone says stuff like that, in very many cases, it's an empty threat. And a threat that you're not willing to really do is, as soon as it is looked through, it is completely worthless and does the opposite. It weakens your position. So normally you shouldn't threaten with stuff you're not really willing to do. If the other one believes you and knows you will do that, then you can threat with it. So normally I would say it's an empty threat, but we have seen Senjugahara do stuff like that. We've seen her being quite rude. I mean, I remember the first scenes with Aragi, and I'm pretty sure she wasn't aware of his healing powers then. So she is possibly someone who would really stab Kaiki. Maybe not deadly, I guess she would stab parts of him that are not causing internal bleeding and everything. But she did that, and she is possibly willing to do it. So I think he takes this threat seriously. It will not, once she stabbed him, make him then do it. It is just the fact that he has a reason to at least stay and listen, to avoid negative consequences. Although by threatening stuff like that, it's very likely that when she ever asks for a meeting again, he will not appear, just to avoid that. One thing came to my mind, however, when they talked about Nadeko. So the deception she wants is for Nadeko, to save Aragi and her. But then it came to my mind about Nadeko herself, a question. So they say that Nadeko now, having become kind of a god, is an aberration, is something that falls into the rules of aberrations, which normally would mean that that she should be beatable by Shinobu, but it's a different power level, so I can see that. However, I ask myself, by becoming that, did she not change from what she was before? I mean, we had just in the last story arc the darkness in, and the darkness made sure that when an aberration goes the wrong way and thus falls out of the rules, the darkness comes in and clears that up. So this is a different way here. We have a new aberration being created or kind of revived. So I understand that the darkness is not jumping in here directly, but wouldn't there be something like that for humans as well? If a human falls out of any kind of normal scheme, something would have to do something about it. In this case, we have a human becoming an aberration. I don't know if there's something at all. Just asking. Shouldn't there be? You know? And if so, what? And if you now say Aragi, well, okay, I can see that. Good. Back to the main story. I was a bit surprised that Senjugahara contacted Kaiki, but in the discussion he Mero neither made the point clear why. There are two reasons. Oshino Meme is not to be found, and she tried. It is her first person to request help from. He has the knowledge, and he is someone who has shown in the past that he's willing to help, so that he's kind of, good-natured. He's someone you could trust, possibly. They even tried to find him by Hanekawa going outside of the country, which is important to know, because I didn't know that until now. So she is no longer around, at the moment at least. He's not to be found, which is very fitting. He seems to have gone for a longer time. Don't know why. There are others they could have asked. I guess they did not, or maybe we'll learn later on. But in the end, it makes sense to request the help of Kaiki. He is powerful, he has knowledge, and that's the main thing, he is a deception artist. He is someone who would be able to deceive even a god, as he states. So there might be a way of tricking Nadeko into letting it go. Which brings us to the problem of the money. Everything he does has to have something in for him. He is not someone who does it just for being a nice guy. He is searching for his benefit, normally in form of wealth. However, it seems he's accepting other options of benefits as well. So if he would know that he will have for sure in the future a huge benefit of it, like an important person helping him when needed, I guess that is something he would go for as well. So she offered him a bit of money, which was not such a tiny amount. It was quite a good amount, but not compared to deceiving a god with risks that are at hand. And as he even stated clearly in his monologue later on, he sees her as kind of an enemy from the past, so he has even less reason to help her. However, when she even thought about selling her body, stuff like that, that is something where he clearly stopped her. Sure, it could have been like just a counter for the orange juice that was spilled on him, but it came instantly, and I think it is like a line that where he says you shouldn't do that, even if you're my enemy, which is good, interesting to know, because it shows that there is good in him. There are moral standards he has, although we do not know them completely, and I think partially I can say I cannot understand them or agree with them, because we had it in the past. He took the money of youngsters for his own benefits, if possible. So, but he has some morals, so good to see. The most important thing, however, for me, scene-wise, there it is him in this bathroom talking to himself. Because he really reflects, why would I help? And there are two things why I think this is interesting. The one thing is, he goes through it one by one, and it feels to me like he kind of wants to help. He's like, I think I want to help, but I really need a reason for it. I mean, in general, if I feel like I should help, then I just do it, and in many ways I don't question what is in for me. For him, it's a different thing, because he has this kind of very hard line that he's drawing. It has to be in something for me. So he goes through it one by one. Money from other people, kind of having benefits in the future, being on good terms with Aragi and Senjugahara. All this stuff doesn't matter to him. Hanekawa, and so on and so forth. And then he remembers that there is someone living in the city, and this is where we met him the first time, where Aragi met him the first time, in the front of the house of Kanbaru Suruga, who he says is Gaen. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly. Gaen Tone or Tue. I'm not sure here. I think this name is possibly the one of her mother. We know that she is related to... I wrote her down, I'm sorry. Gaen Izuku. Exactly. And so the whole Gaen family is interesting, and the one we've met just in the last episodes as well. So, by the way, she wanted to be introduced to her without being mentioned they're related. He is thinking, and he's in the end saying, I will help, just for the sake of one of a member of the Gaen family again. So I really have to ask, what is this Gaen family? I think it is mainly somehow moving around the mother, which would be the sister of Gaen, which would be Gaen 2, I think. And I ask myself if there is a past that he is involved in. So I think maybe, just maybe, it is someone he, well, liked in the past, maybe. I mean, even grumpy as he is, maybe there was someone he loved once. We have seen this car in the intro, and we have seen him, in my opinion, in a younger version, and kind of happy. So I ask myself if maybe there's a little bit of background story about her. He is helping. That's the thing. He's willing to deceive a god with the risks that they're in, just for the benefit of someone who is not really even discussed by Senjugahara yet. So there is much more to be seen. So Kanbaru Suruga is important to him, mainly because she's the daughter of someone who is important to him, I think. So that's what I'm looking for. More little informations that we get there. The last story arc was moving towards Kanbaru. This story arc has a movement there as well, so I think that is something we where it will culminate. Maybe in this season, maybe in another one, but there's an important family, and I will have an open eye for it. That's it for this time. I hope you liked. I did for sure. It was interesting to see Kaiki again in a bit of different outfit, and a bit more open in some kind of ways. We saw him a bit more doing stuff than we did in the past. So that's it from me. As always, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you the next time. Until then, my name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.